Joe Perry currently 10th in the world rankings. Gets the third frame underway. By screwing across, he wasn't going to leave any red other than the one he attempted.
That's a good shot. It was only a tiny bit of the pack that he could hit there. He's played it very well.
It's not just a case of young eyes picking out the thin edges, but a straight cue action.
Not such a good shot from Joe. You might think it was a bit firmly struck, but I think he caught it too thin, which means the cue ball went up and down out of bulk. But I don't think he's done any damage. He could have lost the safety battle though, because Michael could conceivably get Joe back into more trouble here. Very attacking choice of shot. He needs a bit of cover for the red near the pocket, otherwise it's good. I think he's left a tempter, but a difficult one for Joe.
One.
All he could do there was make sure he potted the red and hope for a helpful flick as regards position on the colour. Not worth attempting the blue. Bit too dangerous.
Green ball. Joe Perry 1.
caught that very thick.
Yeah, the cue ball just limped its way past the blue spot. He's not left an easy starter. In fact, far from it.
Good pot and very nicely guided through the other balls.
Four. Joe Perry, 4.
Well, he's not left the red over the middle pocket. It's a bit like the shot that Michael left Joe. It's not an easy starter either.
Thanks.
You can never quite tell how far they've missed them by when they hit the red on the way through. It didn't look great.
One.
Left of centre striking, swung the cue ball out into the middle of the table and away from the side cushion. Well, it was overhit. He's unlucky not to finish on anything, but the red that the cue ball has finished against was the one that he was playing for, I believe.
Yes, and he'll feel unlucky all the same, as you say, because there's so many places on the table you can land on a red, and that isn't really one of them.
Joe Perry, 5.
Missed the intended thin edge.
One. 8. Nine. $16. 17.
Could be a precious lead he builds up here with a couple more reds and colours. 5 reds tied up against this near cushion from that camera angle you can see there on the right, and be difficult to get back into the frame if you're 40 or 50
22.
behind.
$23. 29. 30.
Running out of easy reds.
$37.
Yeah, the chance to flick one out was there, but in doing so,
38.
he's given himself a difficult shot on the black, leaving the cue ball on the rail. It's quite straight as well, Clive.
Yeah, thinner contact on the second red would have left the cue ball further out from the rail.
It's very good cueing. I mean, it was so straight he hit the jaws of the corner pocket with the cue ball.
45.
No, hit it well. If this cuts in, it's very thin.
46.
Not only has he cut it in, but he's developed another red into a possible position. So regardless of what
51.
happens with the 4 reds on cushions, this looks like a frame-winning break.
Nice. 52.
White resigned to going 2-1 down.
In what's been a fairly open match so far, not very many long bouts of safety.
Another very well executed
59.
developing shot. This red can be tickled into the right middle.
Six.
Quite a characteristic Joe Perry break, this. Good positional play. Some good
66.
developing shots.
Joe Perry, 66 and a frame.
And 66 is enough to give Joe Perry a 2-1 lead.
Welcome back to the Group 1 match in the Champion of Champions tournament between Perry and White. Perry ahead by 1. This is now the 4th frame. Commentary comes from Clive Everton and Neil Folds.
Perissati has finished short because he made too thick a contact.
That red that's near the black, I just wonder if that red can be potted, whether the black even goes into the right corner. I would think probably not from our commentary position. It's not to say this couldn't be made into a good chance. If the red pots now, it'll clear it. Clear the black to both corners.
7.
And he can get to that red.
Eight.
This is turning into a really good chance. This is where he's very strong, as we saw in frame 2 with that 84 break that he made in the balls. Play that very well though. He would like to have been much straighter on the red.
15.
Can't hold black ball position from the easy red.
He's quite lucky to have that red to fall back on, wasn't he? He wouldn't have known too much about it. Just another little similar shot to the opposite middle now on this pink. So he's found a way of making the break come back into prime position.
23.
Again, just a fraction too far this time. Might have to just screw into a little bunch of 3 here to hold the cue ball. Yeah, no problem. He's quite fluent in the balls, Clive, isn't he?
30.
I was just thinking, when he gets into a break, he looks really good. He doesn't look so good in broken play.
I think that is where his game is at the moment. And also, I have to say, that was a bit jabby. He may have got a kick, but he isn't quite going through the ball as he would like. It could be, as I say, that he got a bad contact there. But that was a fairly elementary shot otherwise. He certainly believes he's had a bad contact. Not Joe, but Michael himself, because everything cleaned. Got himself in a bit of a pickle here from what was a fairly easy chance.
Tricky this, he'll do well to pot it.
$39.
He's going around the houses in this break. It's the second time he's landed on a ball he knew nothing about. Yeah, as it happened, the yellow was A1 to get down for the next red.
41.
So that was a stroke of luck, maybe bad luck the shot before. Needs to put this frame to bed here.
.21 in front as I speak.
42. 47. $48.
So this red and any colour, and the frame should be his.
54. 55.
35 in it right now. Entertaining match.
62.
As I said, quite open, I think. Not an awful lot of safety been played. A few chances given. And
63.
some glimpses of what this young man is capable of.
Thanks.
White has had some adventures
70.
on the way in this break, but he's
Michael
kept
White,
it going
70. And a
to the winning post. His run of 70 brings him level at 2-all.
Welcome back to the Group 1 match in the Champion of Champions tournament between Perry and White. It's Michael White, who, with a break of 70 in the fourth, has levelled this match. This is now the fifth frame, White back at the table, but facing a long pot.
I mean, there was an awful lot of danger in that shot, and he didn't really think about playing safe. Again, he had an option for safety. Many might argue that was low percentage because he didn't know for sure he'd be on a colour. I guess when they're all going in, he's formidable.
Very often the most important standard for a player is the standard he never falls below, and that's governed to some extent by shot selection. Perry had to take a chance for position there, and hasn't been favoured by fortune.
No, certainly not favoured by that red going near the bottom left pocket either, because it puts a lot of pressure on this. Getting through the frames fairly quickly, these two. And a quarter of actual play. This is the big shot, maybe the biggest of the match so far. Ah, absolutely brilliant from Joe. As you can see what he's leaving. Great cueing.
6.
And how many hours would he have spent practicing a shot like that? Hundreds, if not thousands.
Thank you. 7. 9. 10.
They just falling it in between 2 or 3 shots
40.
here. The red to the right middle, one to the right corner. None of them are easy, certainly not for getting onto a colour. He's also got one to the left corner, which is in between as well. Got to swing this cue ball right round the table here. Look good.
50.
Looks pretty good, this. They'll be happy with that.
$21. 22.
Perry has certainly been the more consistent of the two players. He's made fewer unforced errors so far.
Yeah.
That was a kick. Would have been straighter on the red, but for that.
28. 29.
And just a bit more on this, queuing over the ball. This is missable. It gets him in behind a red to the same pocket if it goes in. Oh, he's played it really well. Okay, didn't quite get past that first red, but with the pink going on the black spot,
35.
he's got one to the middle. And like you say, he has been the more consistent of the two,
36.
slightly more measured. I wouldn't completely write Michael White out of this match yet, though, because he came back twice. Appears he's going to have to do it a third time. Not quite at that stage yet, after that shot, Clive.
It was a big
42.
surprise to me that Perry lost position there.
Yeah, it's quite a dangerous part of the frame because he's not out of it where the balls are.
Perry 52 in front, but by no means over the line.
Joe Perry, 42.
Cue ball to ball cushion. Red nearer a side cushion.
He may have been forced into that, but either way it was extremely difficult. If he had no other shot, then fair enough, I guess.
It was a good safety from Perry, actually, looking back.
Yes, which will eventually win in the frame.
1.
57
5.
in front with only 51 on.
Six.
And that additional red surely removes any remaining vestige of doubt that Perry is going to win this frame.
$12. $30. $90.
For the third time then, Michael White is going to fall a frame behind.
19 and a frame.
Joe Perry leads by 3 frames to 2, 1 up with 2 to play.
Welcome back to this Group 1 match between Joe Perry and Michael White. This is the 6th frame. Perry ahead by 1. White to break, and commentary comes from Clive Everton and Neil Foulds.
Not with the first time, that's a very good break-off shot. Joe not with too many options here. He'd like to keep that break and recreate it every time he broke off in a match. Might be a little edge of a red, that's about all he has. And it's a thin edge as well. Well, can see a bit more of it than that, but he couldn't risk going up the table from it.
So just a containing safety then. Neither player has done a lot on the circuit this season. Perry's reached 2 world ranking quarterfinals, White 1. So this event, the Champion of Champions, provides an opportunity for them to really get their season underway on a new level.
Yes, I guess this qualifies as what they call an invitational event, as does the Masters. But in a way, it's up to you whether you win them or not, as to whether you win or your ranking is high enough.
Yes, no ranking points at stake in the Champion of Champions or the Masters because it is invitation for a ranking event. All main tour professionals must be allowed to enter.
Well, again, it was that dangerous sort of thick off the pack safety shot that Michael played there, which was given this chance.
One.
It's going to be second prize here, in behind probably the brown. Rather have been in behind it to pot it.
Joe Perry 1.
I guess from the thin red near the pocket he could have played in and out of baulk rather than try to hold on the short side. Anyway, not too bad from Perry's point of view. Opponent comprehensively snookered.
Yes, and if he's looking around 2 cushions to get into that little bunch of reds at the bottom, he's got to be accurate. If he slides past the first red, he might stick the red to the right corner here.
$30.
Dear. It's a long way away. He's left a red worse than anything else.
But wasn't he a long way out with that escape?
Yeah, miles away.
One.
Oh, that's not a good shot. Seemed to get too much screw into that, I think. I don't know quite how he played it, but he obviously wanted to avoid going into the yellow and brown on the way into bulk.
Three.
Well, he's not got an easy shot on any of these three reds actually lined up. I think the middle one goes past the other one, and you can just see how much he can get to. Enough to pot it anyway.
Four.
What a chance to close out the match.
Ten. $11. $18.
From his body language, I deduce that he's not on his next red as he would want to be, but at least he has a pot on. I think he was after the red, which was next to that one, from which he could have held black ball position.
I think the worst thing about this is he mightn't be with very good cueing, which gives Michael a bit of hope. Yeah, not nice this. It was a very solid shot though. Okay, the brown was away from its spot, which helps him, but it was a fine shot. Cueing down on the ball like that.
24. $25. $30. Thank you. 31.
White fearing the worst here.
38.
He may have played his last shot in this year's Champion of Champions.
$39.
A big area that he could have landed in, and it's absolutely perfect. That
44.
might be it. And he deserves to win.
45.
If he does so. He has been, as you say, a little better and a bit more controlled with his shot selection. Doesn't miss very much.
$52. $53.
A 93% pot success rate. The sort of percentage which does win a lot of matches.
Yep, and it's going to be certainly enough to win this one.
60.
%84% Michael White. He's missed a few. He's just
61.
a little bit loose for my liking at this level. I think he just needs to sort out one or two aspects of his game. All the talent is there. He can play, but he gives chances.
68. Joe Perry, 68.
And surely that's enough. $76 the difference, only 59 on.
One.
Miracle required to pull this frame out of the fire.
Six. Seven.
I'm just thinking that Mark Selby has won a couple of frames from 3 snookers needed. There was a famous
14.
Deciding frame recovery by Mike Hallett in the semi-final of the Masters many moons ago. 42 behind with only 25 on. Somehow or other
40.
Hallett won that, only to lose 9-0 to Steve Davis in the final. $62 the difference, only 43 on.
Yeah, it's going to set up a interesting match tonight. John Higgins likely to be playing Joe Perry, barring something quite amazing from that man.
Yes, White has not only got to lay the snookers, but Perry's got to miss them, and there's no misrule to help White at the snooker's required stage. So no chance of multiple penalties from the same snooker. White has pursued forlorn hope for the last 5 minutes.
One.
But I don't think he'll be pursuing it any further. White has had his moments this afternoon. He's made breaks of 84 and 70.
8.
But Perry has been more sound,
9.
more consistent, has made fewer mistakes. And it's Perry who's going to be
40.
playing John Higgins in the group final this evening.
60. 19. 23. 28.
So Joe Perry